today. There's still a lot of cheating in Counter-Strike Go, but in an exciting new way. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where today is Show and Tell Day. Kathleen, do you have something you want to show to everybody?
Yes, climate change is real. Reduce your carbon footprint.
True, a bummer, but true. Do you have anything for the show portion?
I could bring up some studies on melting ice caps.
On with the funny video game news.
Indie turn-based strategy survival game Overland includes inventory management, very good dogs, and a cool new accessibility feature, a dyslexic-friendly font option. The font, called Open Dyslexic, gives more space between letters and weights the bottoms, which can make it easier for people with a learning disorder to read the game's menus and instructions, which is an accessibility challenge that I didn't even realize existed before I wrote the story. And while Open Dyslexic doesn't work for everyone, it is free and open source, so here's hoping that more developers just start adding it as an option. No joke here, just a suggestion.
Bandai Namco and @Games are having an argument about Pac-Man, and it's not about who gets next. No, it involves copyright infringement lawsuits valued at much more than a quarter. @Games makes those inexpensive flashback mini consoles that feature a bunch of retro games from a single publisher or franchise. They also make stand-up mini cabinets about the height of an excellent dog. Bandai Namco is a huge juggernaut that keeps trotting out Pac-Man in hopes everyone will throw out 40 years of gaming advancement and rediscover a taste for digital cherries. And Bamco has two beefs with @Games. First, @Games allegedly showed Bandai Namco review units for a Pac-Man flashback console that used the original arcade ROM, but the retail units used the inferior NES ROM instead. I'm a little impressed @Games went out of their way to retool their own product to be shittier, but Bandai Namco feels this harmed their business. Second, @Games has been pushing for a license for Miss Pac-Man, and Bandai Namco has refused them multiple times, probably for reasons like I just mentioned. Not one to let a minor obstacle like that hold them back, @Games just went ahead and made an unauthorized stand-up mini cabinet, which upset Bandai Namco because they feel it will confuse actual and potential customers. Now, as a potential customer for video games, the only thing that confuses me is why anyone would spend $500 on a Miss Pac-Man cabinet in this day and age. But if you happen across one in a Walmart or a Tesco or something, I guess you should pick it up even if you don't like Pac-Man, because it's probably a collector's item and you can flip it on eBay for 6 times its asking price, because that's how this shit works nowadays.
There's no doubt esports is generating a lot of money. After all, big ticket events like the International gave out more than $34 million in prize money this year. But according to an investigation by the Australian police, the real money is likely in match fixing. Police in Victoria, Australia, have launched the country's first major investigation into corruption in esports, and they are currently investigating several reports of match fixing in Counter-Strike Global Offensive games, including one case that has already led to 6 arrests, which also include 2 semi-professional CSGO players in those ranks. And although the sums involved are generally pretty small, it's estimated like $30,000 was won by betting on these fixed games. It's not the size of the corruption, it's the amount, since betting on even low-level esports tournaments is popular in Australia. There is, of course, with all suspicious-looking matches, some debate if the match was thrown intentionally. Some of us used to be good, but we're sort of washed-up players, said a player whose teammate had been arrested for fixing matches in this investigation. We really didn't care. We weren't committed to playing professionally anymore. This was like our final run, he said in his defense. And look, I'm no CSGO expert, but if you're so bad at the game the police investigate you for corruption, it might not be your sport.
Dateline Japan. A new ambassador was appointed to Kagawa Prefecture recently in hopes that this will lead to revitalization of the region and continued economic growth. It's Slowpoke, whom I'm sure you'll recognize from many memes and also Pokemon. Slowpoke, or Yadon, was governor of Kagawa back in 2018, but apparently only as an April Fool's Day joke, so now they've made him ambassador. Why Yadon, though? Did he display bold leadership and political acumen? Is it an underhanded dig at Kagawa? Are they like lazy or something? No, you see, Yadon sounds like udon, and they eat a lot of udon in Kagawa. That's it. Now, they tried to justify it by saying Kagawa has very little precipitation throughout the year and Yadon can summon rain. Also, Yadon's tail is covered in sweet sap, and Kagawa hosts a research institute for rare sugar. So fine, 3 good reasons Yadon belongs in Kagawa. To celebrate, the prefecture is doing its usual thing and making a bunch of awesome manhole covers to commemorate Yadon. Here he is with some udon. Here he is chumming with Yado King. Here he is posing nude in front of a bridge. Here he is about to come through your TV screen. Here he is with a completely different Pokemon that looks suspiciously like him plus a shell on his tail. And here he is trying that same shit but with a Magikarp. Congrats on your appointment, Slowpoke. Hope they're paying you. You know, Kathleen, the Slowpoke story has me thinking, if nobody gives a shit about climate change, maybe we just need to recontextualize it.
What, like come up with a Pokemon that represents it?
Yeah, why not? A new villain Pokemon called Extinction.
Jesus, that's dark.
No, probably more of a rock type.
Coming up, the cover for Final Fantasy VII Remake looks pretty much exactly like the cover for Final Fantasy VII, with some minor graphical upgrades. Not messing with perfection goes against everything that Square Enix stands for, and I'm confused and afraid.
What the hell's our today?
Today.
Where is it?
Oh, we forgot to write one.